Good evening, ghouls and ghosts, and welcome to another spine-tingling chapter of Blood from a Stone, a tale of love and dread in RPG. My name is Philip, and I'm the Dreadmaster, and surrounding me are our players. Say, good afternoon, players.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Players.
Yeah. Yep. Boy, we really are good at doing those in a professional, coordinated way. So welcome to Blood from Stone. This is the week of blood. This is day 5 of the week of blood. We've done 4 of these in a row, and my brain is functioning normally. We have visited the grave marshes and met some undersea beings who tried to carve deep, neat lanterns. We have visited Arcana Bane, where some children had to give out candy to monsters. We have visited Voluptua, where parental guidance is strongly advised. And we have visited Merkshire, where Sarah did her usual histrionics, and a guy named James once again fell in love with a woman so fast, demonstrating his inability to actually experience the emotion. So, today we're going back to Paradise, and joining us is a new player. Say hello to Megan. Hello to Megan.
Hello.
How are you doing? Megan. How are you doing today?
Hey, Megan.
Are you ready to jump into the hardest to define of all of our horror milieus?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to be spooked.
All right. Well, I hope that happens tonight, and I think what's going on here in Paradise will do it. Before we begin, I have some housekeeping to get out of the way. First of all, wow, we've really made our way through this adventure calendar of the Witch's Brew. What is today's date? 29?
The 29th.
Hooray, the 29th. Uh-oh, guys. 29 is a double wide. And within it, it contains, once again...
Witch's tit.
Well, I don't think there will be a witch's tit upon it, but it is in the color of the witch's tit. This is... We have 2 more of these potion bottles that you can flip. One side says drink me, one side says drank me. It has 2 dots and 1 dot, so it's kind of like an even odds coin flip. We have... I guess none of you have seen any of these yet. I think last time we got these was actually on Sunday, so yeah. We have that in all 4 of the colors. How exciting! I'm excited. Nonsense number 2. I have to eat some kind of Halloween candy. Is today's option a pumpkin pie Kit Kat, a Russell Stover marshmallow, or like a chocolate eyeball from like the nondescript bag of, like off-brand candy?
I vote for chocolate eyeball again.
I'm always for weird Kit Kats.
I vote for Kit Kat as well.
That's 2 for Kit Kat, 1 for eyeball. Megan?
I say, give me a break.
Oh, Lauren.
That Kit Kat bar.
You have once again, and watch tomorrow night when you're not here, they're like, do the eyeball, and then you won't get to see the eyeball.
I mean, it's okay. I'm just looking out for you. That might be gross. It might be the best thing you've ever had, though.
I've had a pumpkin pie Kit Kat before, if I'm being honest, and...
Are they good?
It sounds great.
It feels like it's more of a lunch, brunch thing. So,
I get it.
it feels more appropriate for right now.
It is so good. I
see.
If you mix me with an acid, it'll turn to water, because I must be basic with how much I like pumpkin spice.
That was a good one.
Well, actually, I don't think that's how that works.
Don't they cancel out? Doesn't it turn into water? Universal solvent? We have a lot of fun on this channel, but sometimes we're serious too. But typically not. So, Paradise, for those who haven't ever been here in our viewers, I know a lot of our longtime viewers actually started after we after we had kind of moved away from Paradise for our sort of opening arc. So, Paradise is a small town of kind of an indeterminate mid-20th century time period. It feels sort of 1950s, sort of 1980s. Nobody has cell phones, but they do have phones on the wall with, you know, the cord, the wired cord. What's that called? The curly. Remember those?
Phone cord.
Phone cord.
Yeah.
But what's that term? Like a helix? I don't know. Anyway, it's that vibe. Certain people have said, is it like Stranger Things? And I think it's not like Stranger Things. It also has, if anybody watched The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I think that's actually not a bad reference for it either. Just kind of this sort of timeless small town. But there sure are a lot of unexplained deaths in this town of, you know, maybe 1,000 people. There also is a shocking number of cemeteries around the outside of the town. How could so many people die in this place? A reasonable question. But it is our original Dread domain. It is one that retains a certain degree of primacy. And I think, despite my genuine love of the turn-ons and turn-offs that we use as the invocations for Voluptua, I think this is my favorite invocations here because of what the source material is. So, with that in mind, I'm going to read today's invocation, which, when I asked kind of Zane what he thought we should do, he said, do the craziest, and I said, okay. So this is not necessarily the most appropriate to the story we're about to see, but it does sum up Paradise rather well. Should I do it in the voice, or should I just read it?
Do it in the voice.
The voice.
Clearly.
Okay. Well then, in the words of the Stone Man himself.
Yes.
The entire city is burning. You can see the flames like the inside of a mad jukebox. Lost boys stalk the streets with those jungle markings on their chests. Barbarians prowl in shadows, their heads rocking with rodents. Motorcycles reproduce in nocturnal alleys, groaning with greasy pleasure. And they've blown up the YWCA like a giant balloon and sent it out to sea full of screaming, lovely, lonely girls. It's a chilly autumn evening in the town called Paradise. On the main street of Paradise, at the end of which is a large mountain, which seems somewhat incongruous in the area. A bit beyond that, the marshy area called the Paradise Marshes, which as far as most people who live here are concerned has always been there. The other end of Paradise, a strange sort of futuristic building that no one really goes to or talks about, where the library never was. Several students from Paradise High School are making their way out of the Rogue Theater, having just watched a double feature of horror films. Among them is a film buff named Charlotte. Some of the other kids are suggesting that they're going to go over to the diner to have a you know, kind of like a malted milkshake, chat about the films they say. But Charlotte has somewhere to be. She was invited to a gathering in a graveyard in the dead of night. So as she waves goodbye and makes her way to the outer ring, we will meanwhile cut over to Rhett, a young man who is studying in the library at the school. Upon seeing the time, he has to pack up his books. Hurry out. We also might see Dante Macchiato hanging out at his car with some other cool kids. Does Dante still wear his prom king crown on his head? Does he just like wear it to school every day?
He's got it in the car, and he pulls it out when he needs it.
Understood. Well, Dante, you realize
Hanging around his finger a lot.
Spins it around the finger. You realize that the time is coming for you to venture as you were invited to one of the graveyards for a slightly more exclusive gathering. There is also a student at the high school named Emmeline, who probably on a night like this, where might you be sitting, like composing a poem, thinking about the dark things in life?
I think I'm huddled under the bleachers, trying to hide from the world so that I can think about my many ponders of life alone in solitude.
You do so, all alone under the bleachers, until you realize it is time for you to go and gather with others for a time to potentially change their lives with your poetry and your insights. So as Emmeline climbs out from the bleachers, as Rhett packs up his books, as Charlotte hurries across town, as Dante spins his crown, we will now cut to one of the graveyards around Paradise. And I actually decided to leave this to you all to sort of make a call on if you want. Would you rather go to the most ornate, sort of like the fanciest graveyard in town called the Grand Cemetery of Paradise? Or I'm sorry, the Grand Necropolis of Paradise? Or would you rather go to the more sort of traditional, old-fashioned lovers' lich yard with kind of various statues? So do you want like tomb necropolis buildings, or do you want kind of standard graveyard with sort of statues ringing the area?
Standard. I vote.
Rhett's just here to prove the ghosts aren't real, but he does appreciate the architecture of the tomb necropolis.
Understood. So one for necropolis, one for lich yard. Emmeline, where would you prefer this to be set?
I think traditional will inspire more words for me to be able to pen.
Understood. Dante, do you traditional or Grand Necropolis?
The fancy places for sissies. I'd prefer to go to the traditional one.
Then you guys go to the Lover's Lich Yard, known for its statues, its stone men. Wonderful. So our game will begin with the four of you sort of seeing one another, making your way through the eerily cold Lover's Lich Yard, on the outskirts of Paradise. On the far side, there is a thick, swirling purple mist, one that none of you have ever ventured into, as you know that to do so either brings bad luck or worse, according to sort of rumors and local legends. Perhaps it simply is toxic and causes sickness to those of a more scientific mind, or for some of you, you've just never felt the need to explore. Whatever's beyond this graveyard is probably not worth looking into. But as you gather in this remote spot, the four of you, numerous tombstones. This is not everyone you expected to be here tonight, but you have come for one reason. It is getting to be that sort of spooky time of the year. And those of you with a streak for the macabre are excited to share your best ghost stories. Here alone late at night, in a graveyard, among the sleeping dead. So, as you gather together, you may make whatever small talk or conversation you wish.
Well, glad we chose the traditional cemetery. The other one is a little hoity-toity.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's got such great architecture. The way they built the tombs there is just perfect. This is just so ordinary.
Rhett, we're not here for the architecture. We're here for the ghost stories. Come
Ghosts Charlotte, how many times do I have to tell you ghosts aren't real? I love a scary story as much as anybody, but they're not real things in
There
real life.
have been several that have been caught on film. You have to see it to believe it. I get it, but
Listen, there's a lot of cutting edge technology now where they're starting to be able to edit video. It's just vague.
we'll see.
Dante sneaks around behind Rhett. Ah!
So, Dante, in order to do this, roll a stealth against Rhett's passive perception, because we're going back to these rules. So just D20 plus 1. Rhett, you've got an 11. Level 0.
I don't have my dice out. I don't know what I'm doing.
What do we got, Dante?
That was so D20 plus 1.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna give you a big fat 3.
Okay, so Rhett, you hear him coming up behind you, so unless you still would be scared by the prom king just yelling at you, even though you knew he was coming, you cannot react to that if you'd like. You were not surprised.
No, I completely stone-faced. I turned and I nodded him. And back to Charlotte.
Lighten up, buddy. Lighten up. Ah.
Hi, Emmeline.
Hi, sorry, I was distracted. I'm just thinking about. Do you know everyone here had a story to tell? At some point in their life, they had a story and they could tell that story, and now they can't. And I just think that's kind of creepy, no?
Yeah, and sad.
Think of all the knowledge lost.
It's not sad. No, it's incredible. I think tonight we can maybe hear their stories and tell them ourselves. Like, that's kind of cool.
I got a story. Here lies 3 losers.
Thank you,
The end.
Dante. That's
And
Academy
Dante
Award-winning
wins.
material right there. Why don't you go and write that movie?
Dante, if you didn't want to be here, why did you come?
You guys followed me here. Wait,
Why were you sneaking up on us?
yeah, the only loser I see here is your career after we graduate.
you see this crown?
Oh, the plastic one?
Enough said.
Okay.
Well, should we find somewhere to sit?
Yeah. Can
So,
we look for a place?
You absolutely
Let's get this
may.
over with. I have to study for finals.
And I would actually say all of you could even do this, or maybe not everyone has to. If one of you cares the most, I want you to describe to me what it is you're looking for, like what it is you would deem the best place. Yeah, go ahead, Charlotte.
I would like an ideal, like very cinematic spot that would be perfect. Let's say there was a camera, like, you know,
Oh, okay.
it would be spookily lit. Maybe there's a place for a little fire to be lit without damaging the surroundings, of course, because you always want to keep that in mind.
You in other words, you do want to, like, you want to be as you want to be as like cinematic as possible. In that case, go ahead and make a camera roll that is down at the bottom under your tools.
Yes.
Kind of, you don't have a camera, but you can kind of, you can do this pretentious thing.
First roll of the day for me, nat 20 plus 5.
A nat 20 plus 5. So Charlotte picks the most cinematic spot. It's a collection of gravestones, and were someone to be shooting on probably on a 50, well, if you're on a 50 about 15, 20 feet away, you can get 2 of these beautiful sort of sculptures, these angelic carved sculptures, just on either side. If you came back even further and shot at an 85 and really threw the back, out of focus, kind of shallower depth of field, you could kind of include maybe a couple of other cool sculptures dirtying frame in the front. So that seems to you like the perfect spot as far as looks go.
Okay. I will point to the area and turn around to everyone and say, I think this is perfect. Emmeline, you can write a poem or something about this because the atmosphere is perfect. The lighting is great. Rhett, you can possibly see a ghost. Dante, you can be here and enjoy.
Whatever.
What do you think?
We're not going to see any ghosts. They're not real.
Okay, well, can you not spoil the mood? Okay, we're trying to get the vibe. We're trying to set this up as an experience for all of us to tell our stories. Maybe see a ghost. Who knows? You might change your mind.
Well, actually, we haven't even developed a specific hypothesis yet. What constitutes
There
real
are
evidence
ghosts,
that
or
we've
there
seen a
are
ghost?
not. The hypothesis is ghosts exist. And if
Oh
they
my
did,
God.
they would be here. Let's go sit. And I'll like tromp over.
Perfect. As you sort of take your position there, unless anyone else like doesn't like this reasoning for where you should be and wants to, research a different location, you can all sort of gather in this kind of very quintessential graveyard spot. Once you sort of settle down, Charlotte, make a survival roll.
That is a 5. So that's a 3.
So Charlotte, you get there and you're like, cool, and maybe we could have a fire here, and you actually don't even know how to light a match.
Right.
And also have no idea how to build a fire. And also aren't sure that one could. Maybe you should just add it in post. That being said,
Yeah.
I will say something that I left off of equipment. I'll just say 1, 2, 3, 4. As it happens, Charlotte, one thing you did have on hand makes sense for lighting purposes. I'll add this. You do have a flashlight. So you could always do that.
Okay. Okay, so can't build a fire, but I'll turn on the flashlight and put it like in the middle and sit down and be like, perfect substitute.
And Rhett, you have a flashlight as well, just based on a roll I just made. So. The air is cool. There's a chilly wind that blows. For a moment, you almost think you can see like specks of snow in it. Then you just assume that was some trick of the light, some bit of dust. Aside from the wind, aside from the rustling of the branches of the leafless trees, you don't hear anyone other than yourselves. It's a very secluded spot.
Dante wants to look around and just see if there's any interesting gravestones.
Make a perception check.
17.
In this area, the gravestones are less interesting than some of the statues above them. Kind of the statues mixed around them, sort of for maybe the fancier graves. One thing you do notice, though, is that about maybe 60 feet away from where you all are, there is an empty plinth. Kind of a large spot that a statue should be on, but it is, as far as you can tell, it's flat on top. There's no statue there.
Can you define the word that you used?
Plinth, I believe. Let me
Plinth?
see if I'm saying the wrong thing. I think a plinth is it's like the pedestal that is the bottom of a statue. I said it right. I was right. Yay to me.
We always learn a new word
Yeah.
every game.
It's like the big slab that the statue
Yeah.
was either built on or placed upon. So, there is a plinth. There is a statueless plinth.
Dante's a little bored with these nerds and wants to go try to get some attention, so walks over toward that plinth and stands on it and pretends to do something cool.
He pretends to do something cool. So he's not doing something cool, he's just pretending. Gotcha. All right, Dante, I guess. I mean, if you want to do, are you doing like an athletic? Are you like doing some kind of like impressive athleticism thing? Or are you just trying to like look like a cool guy? Or are you just like
No,
yeah?
just trying to look like a dead person, but kind of tough. Like,
Give me
maybe he's sitting there flexing on the.
that would be a performance roll then.
All right. So it's not a nat 13, but it's a 13. So it's 11 plus 2. That doesn't count, right?
Doesn't count. Oh my gosh, and Megan, I forgot to mention. Yes, always, whatever you roll in this game, go ahead and mention if you ever roll a natural 13. It's just just a fun little thing we do. Don't worry about it.
Cool.
Definitely try to do it, though.
No! It's going to happen.
The dread clock stands at 5. So...
Already? Wow.
Yeah, they've been...
We've been through a lot, okay?
So, Dante, I mean, a 13 means you're certainly cooler than average. The rest of you kind of over there, you're not like agog with being impressed at the way he's posing. But, sort of Dante,
We've
you're
seen
up
it
there.
before.
You've probably seen it before. Dante, you're sort of up there. You're doing your thing.
What happened to the statue? I say that out loud. Vandalism?
I am the statue.
I think that's the wrong poses for this style of architecture, but good job.
You hear a voice, Dante, sort of calling to you, saying, "Ooh, that might be bad luck. Might be disrespectful to the dead in a graveyard like this one."
Who?
As you
Who's there?
glance around, you see something that actually kind of shocks you. There's a figure walking out of the purple mist on the far side of the graveyard. She is sort of carrying a large guitar case at her side. She seems to have some things on her, and she's sort of walking to you, but she's emerging from the sort of mist, which is a direction you never see anyone coming from.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Who are you? What?
As she comes a little closer, you can tell that she's wearing a mask over her face, like a masquerade mask. It looks like a goblin or a gremlin. It has these two little horns on top, kind of a strangely sort of shaped face. Eye holes, you can sort of tell there's something behind them, but with the shadows you can't quite tell. On her side, dangling next to her, you see this must be some weird toy. It almost looks like a turnip, but it's made of sponge, and within it, from within kind of like a jack-o'-lantern like face on the front of it, there's burning a purple flame. Next to that, you can kind of see a goldish box. There's also what kind of looks like a fabric hot dog is hanging next to that, and there's also a flask on her hip.
Hey, nice costume. What are you supposed to be?
Oh. I am a Dark Lord.
Dark Lord? Is that like from the comics or?
She pauses and says, "Maybe. What are you all
Okay.
doing here?"
I'm the king.
Emmeline starts quoting every piece of poetry she can think of to describe horror. Things like how her eyes start from her spheres and things like that, just to try to make sure that she knows that she respects how scary this mask is, but she thinks it's funny at the same time.
Give me a performance roll.
I'm doing an online one because I couldn't find my dice. 2.
2. And I think you have a decent modifier for that, right?
I do, yeah. I think it's like +4 or something.
Okay, so, well, not gonna quite get into. So you're stumbling over your words, and she just kind of, she just kind of like gives you a little nod, but sort of turns back to Dante, and sort of says, "You might want to get down from there. That might belong to someone else."
hey, you know, fine. I meant no harm. Just having a little fun. I mean, we're in
Yeah,
the
just a
graveyard.
little vandalization, huh?
So what is it you're gathered in a graveyard for, my friend?
They think ghosts are real.
Oh, and you don't?
No.
Hmm.
It can be easily explained by other natural phenomena.
We're here to tell ghost stories. Just a fun,
Oh,
spooky thing to do.
may I join you?
Yeah, by all means.
Sure.
More the merrier.
I would love to. Yes, I'd love to join you. I could. And perhaps I'm out guising right now. Do any of you know what that means?
Does Rhett recognize that word?
Ooh, Rhett actually might
Oh.
make a history roll on that.
All right.
Um,
Okay, not rolling well this time. That was a 1 plus 5, so 6.
you are pretty sure. You're pretty sure. If you want to actually hear, you can. But the word is pronounced geyser, and it's when like superheated water sort of like, erupts from the earth.
It will absolutely will actually that. Well, actually, I think that word is pronounced geyser, but it doesn't really make sense in this context, anyways. So you might have the wrong word.
I see.
In other words, we don't actually know what that means. It's
Well-
okay to admit the things that you don't know, Rhett.
Perhaps you would know it as trick or treating. Is this a
Yeah.
term you know? Yeah.
We did that as kids.
It's a special kind
Dante
of.
still does it.
It's a special kind of trick or treating. I have to. Play you a song or tell you a story in exchange for something.
In exchange for what?
We don't have any candy or anything. I'm sorry.
Oh, it doesn't have to be candy. It just has to be something. I've been given a flask. I've been given a costume. I've been given candy. She kind of pulls up that gold box that has the words like God Diva or something written on it. I've been given a little lantern.
I have some pressed flowers.
I have my physics textbook from last year.
I've got an issue of Nightmares of the Silver Screen.
Oh.
And a book of scary stories.
Oh. Well, maybe I can tell you a story and maybe you can give me a treat and we can all share stories if you'll have me.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
We don't have a fire. We have a flashlight. So, unless you know how to build a fire.
Well, I actually do have a fire. She takes the deep neep lantern off her belt and sets it in the middle. And you see there is this, it's like this, it looks like a turnip or something. It's made of sponge, looks kind of vaguely aquatic, almost a seaweed coming out the top of it. There is a face carved in it that looks like a horrific rendition of a human child. It's like a jack-o'-lantern face, but with very clear dimples, kind of on the edge of the thing. It's unsettling, and within it there is burning a rather bright purple flame, which kind of illuminates all of you in purple as she sets it down. Charlotte?
Just for the record, I will have grabbed the flashlight since she's replacing it with another light.
Okay.
I start muttering poetry under my breath because I'm inspired by the purple light.
Ooh. But what rhymes with purple?
Did you
I
get
asked Rhett to give me another word.
What rhymes with purple?
You could do a little slant rhyme, hurtful. That's
Yeah,
kind of your vibe there. So
Oh my god.
how did you get that color? Is that potassium? That's pretty dangerous, you know.
It is not potassium.
It's a ghost.
No, it's not a ghost.
kidding.
It comes from another realm beyond the veil where the laws of physics as you know them do not apply. A non-Euclidean space. It doesn't consume air, it consumes something else.
Geyser, what should we call you?
Oh. She takes the mask off and you see that she's a rather sort of lovely, sort of statuesque woman. long black hair. She says, "You can call me some people like to call me the busker, but you can call me La Trovadora."
La Trovador?
La Trovadora.
La Trovadora.
How about the guitar player? Is that better?
Yeah, whatever you want to be called.
Okay. Yes, Charlotte.
Having studied cinema, would I know about the tropes?
The tropes. What tropes?
Like
Commedia
isn't it-
dell'arte?
Yeah. Isn't she one of the tropes? Or similar? Like
I suppose there
adjacent?
are some similarities. Go ahead and roll a yeah, since this is the history of stuff, you could make a history roll. That's fine.
My theater degree is finally coming to you. That was terrible. It was a 3 plus 5, so 8. I do not know these tropes.
No, she just seems kind of like a mysterious woman who's joining you to tell stories. It's like out of a movie.
It is. I'll write that down in my notebook.
Rhett becomes a little flustered when she takes her mask off.
Mysterious troubadour
So,
approaches through the mist.
who's going to exterior graveyard night? So, who's going to tell the first story?
I will.
So, to you as a person, you could actually tell a story. You could just sort of describe a kind of story and just make a roll for it. You all do have a story you could tell. So, not in full, but kind of the broad strokes to describe. So, how do you want to go about this, both Megan and Emmeline? Kind of mechanically and yeah.
I will go based on what is written here and
Understood.
kind of, yeah,
Perfect.
there. So my story, it's a poem, and it's actually one of my favorites. I read it every Halloween. It's all about darkness and loss and grief, and it's called The Tragedy of the Lynch Queen. So basically there was this, before I get started, there was this hateful love triangle between these like undead monarchs in this like faraway evil land, and it's really, really long, so just get comfortable. Okay. And then she starts to tell the poem.
Emmeline, I would like for you, before you launch into it, give me an insight roll. I don't know if that's a skill of yours, but let's throw one out there just for the heck of it, because it'll be better than your passive.
Yeah.
-1, yeah. All right.
Cool. Okay. I got. You said insight?
Insight, yes.
Not rolling well at all. It was a 2 minus 1.
Okay, so you have no sense of what's going on. Does anyone here, if you look, this is kind of, it's not even on the sheet. Does anyone here have an insight modifier of, I guess, let's say 13 or higher, or a +3 on an insight? Anybody have +3 or better for insight?
No, but it's one of my expertises, and I only have a +.
That's because you have a -2 in it, so you used one proficiency to get to 0, and another one to
You
get
know
to 2.
what? You're mean.
It's just what the dice rolled. That being said, you do have expertise. I will maybe allow that. Dante or Rhett, or either of you sort of insightful individuals? No, okay.
Not particularly.
Then you know what? Let's just go ahead and do it with a 2, because it is with expertise. Charlotte, when Emmeline says the title of the poem, you notice this stranger, this woman who calls herself La Trovadora, kind of sits up and like turns to Emmeline, like really paying attention, almost as if she's familiar with his work.
Do you know this story?
Don't you?
Well, I do now.
So, Emmeline, as you now deliver this tale of the Lich Queen Visibadiroth and her dark sort of love triangle that she is stuck within, go ahead and roll a performance. Come on, online dice roller. You can do it.
I know. Okay, I got a 6 plus 4.
A 10.
Yeah.
So, you managed to do sort of a decent job. It may be the case that you are flustered by, such a crowd, such a setting, sort of so over this person who's shown up, certainly surprised you. Maybe it's considering that you are in, as she said, or as you said yourself earlier, that there is there's this audience around you who can never tell their own stories. Might put you a little off your game, but you managed to do a decent enough job of sort of reciting this story. I will say that, Rhett, you do not need to roll for this because you understand words. So what you're listening to is just a very esoteric kind of like old-fashioned. It's not quite like Middle English or something. It's not the Canterbury Tales, but it's Shakespeare. It's kind of like hard to follow. Dante and Charlotte, I actually need both of you to roll. You can roll investigation or just flat intelligence if it's the same. But investigation, just give me a roll to see how much of this you can sort of parse this story.
3, baby.
Sorry, investigation or what?
Investigate. Just do investigation.
Oh, man.
It's...
A 0?
A 0? Wait, do you have negative...
Because I rolled a 1. I rolled a 1, and I have a -1.
For investigation?
I have a
wait,
negative
no,
1
I'm
as
sorry.
well.
I was on the wrong page because somebody was asking me a question that I was answering.
Perfect.
Sorry. So that was a 1, but... Oh, so 6.
So 6. So in other words, Rhett is the only person who's even following any of this. Charlotte and Dante, like the language that Emmeline is using is just too... Charlotte,
Too
look,
flowery.
It's you just want a visual medium. You know what I mean?
I do.
You need the imagery.
I want clear, concise dialogue.
Yeah.
I need people to get to the point. We've got a story to tell.
I'm
I'm not saying this out loud. I'm thinking.
When Emmeline finishes, Rhett has a really appreciative look on his face. Wow, Emmeline, that was beautiful. Your theater education really shows.
That was a lot of words. That I'm sure meant a lot of really beautiful things. And she's trying to give a compliment. She just has a hard time doing it.
Sure. Dante, would you make a Constitution saving throw?
I forget where everything is.
Oh, I'm so sorry. For your modifier,
oh,
it is...
that's a nat 20 plus 1.
Then congratulations, Dante. Or maybe, my apologies, Dante, you do not fall asleep.
Dante has been he found a little stick and he's just drawing pentagrams in the ground. He's just bored.
The woman sort of nods at you and says, "It's a very old poem. I like it."
Emmeline blushes and just says thank you because she's very flustered that this new person was listening to her story, and apologizes that it wasn't as coherent as she had practiced before.
No, you only repeated one canto. I feel like that poem is written to make you feel most for the Lich Queen Visibadiroth, but to me, I feel worse for Ivor Gazety. I think he has it the worst of any of the three of them. Well, I guess that's a scary story. I find it more beautiful than scary. Who's next?
I suppose I'll go next. I'll follow up with one of my own favorite poems, and he will recite "Spirits of the Dead" by Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
Feels appropriate for the graveyard setting. I can read the first stanza if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah. So he says, and his as he recites the poem, the slight perhaps stutter in his voice kind of disappears, and he drops into a deeper sound. He says, "Thy soul shall find itself alone mid dark thoughts of the gray tombstone. Not one of all the crowd to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again. In death around thee, and their will shall overshadow thee. Be still. He continues on for the rest of it. But...
I want you to make... Why don't you make a history check with that as you tell?
Sure.
As you tell that, as you recite that poem of your own.
15.
You have good sort of context for poetry like this, for sort of these older poems. And you're able to sort of, what you might lack in sort of like, kind of like stage presence, you sort of make up for with an assuredness with the words. As you sort of say these things, that's this really crazy that you're sort of saying that. Charlotte, I want you to make an insight roll on this La Trovadora.
Why am I rolling so low right now? It's a 4 total.
As you're getting sort of, as you make your way through that poem, so Charlotte, you pick up on nothing. Listen, what you're really thinking of is like,
Not my strong suit.
you know, all you're thinking of is the best, you know, would be the best way to shoot this area. But Rhett, as you sort of are getting towards sort of like some of the final lines of this poem, La Trovadora sort of stands, and there's like an intensity to how she stands up. And she'll say to you, kind of, she'll sort of be quiet and let you finish, but as soon as you sort of say the last word, she says, "How do you know this? Where is this poem from?"
It's a poem I found in a book of old scary stories that I have.
Do you have it with you?
Yes, and I'll produce tales to tell in graveyards.
She stands there looking at it for a long time. Then she stares off into the purple mist that she came from. She hands it back. I'm sorry, that was very nice.
Is everything okay?
I want that book.
The book?
Yes. I will tell you a story, or I will sing you a song in exchange for that book.
Meta question.
Yeah.
Is this book that I have a book that I could get a copy of, or is it like something I found that's unique?
It seems I'm going to sort of yes and think about this, because you're pulling on some strings you're not fully aware of here in a way that actually is really interesting. The poem that you read is not published in the book. It was like folded up on a piece of paper, having been ripped out of another book and stuck within it.
Okay. Do I have the poem memorized?
Make a flat intelligence roll.
14.
14. You'll remember the title, you remember the first stanza, but you don't have the whole thing memorized.
Oh, that's a very interesting offer. I must admit the poem didn't. It's not in the book itself. It was a slip that came with it. It kind of fell out when I first opened it. You're welcome to have the book if you'd like, but
No, the poem. Where's the poem from? What book is the poem from?
I don't know. It was just a slip of paper in the book. I got it from a used bookstore. I like scary stories, even if I don't really believe in them. You're welcome to have the poem if you give me a few minutes to copy it down. I do want a copy of it.
Yes, copy it. Does anyone else have
I'll-
a story?
I'll hand him my notepad.
Okay.
Sure.
Page.
I'll take a few minutes and write it down.
Okay, sure. Go ahead, Charlotte.
Oh, that was it.
She'll sort of say, "Does someone else have a story to share?"
Sure. I've got one. It's actually from this magazine.
Oh.
It is the story of R.J. Arthur, who was one of the most famous horror actors that we know. He was actually the star of The Ghoul, circa 1934, which is a masterclass in horror cinema and storytelling within the horror genre. But that's neither here nor
How
there.
long is it?
The story or the movie?
What's the running time?
79 minutes.
Oh, okay. You are a film buff. Okay.
Yeah, I am. Anyway, there is a rumor that he went mad later in his life. He claimed that all of his movie characters, every single character that he had ever played, was following him. They appeared to him in mirrors, demanding that he pay for how he besmirched their reputations, which is astonishing because he's a fantastic actor. I mean, those are the roles that he is known for, but he forever was haunted by the roles that he played. And my question is it the characters or is it the ghosts of the writers or someone on set or something like that? I just think it's really interesting to think about.
So as you sort of go through the lurid details from the story and sort of expand on them and provide like film buff expertise throughout,
yes,
referencing other films and most importantly their running times,
of course,
go ahead and make for me your performance of it is good, but let's throw a history roll. This is about let's throw your film cinema expertise on top of it.
Okay.
Major cinephile.
It's saved 14.
14 with your modifier?
Or I'm sorry, I can't do math.
It's okay.
It's what is 6 plus 5?
11. Oh, that's significantly different. Yes.
I'm into film. I'm not into numbers.
That's fine.
So,
so as you sort of explain it, you provide useful details. Again, the woman is sort of she keeps like kind of watching Rhett, waiting for him to finish, but now she's becoming intrigued by what you're saying. And when you finish this, she says, "What was the name of this actor again?"
his name was R.J. Arthur. Do I know what the R.J. stands for?
Make another history roll.
Fair. 10.
You're not a 10. Yeah, you don't know. That's like you're pretty sure you're pretty sure it was like a stage name. He never told anyone what it really was.
Yeah. I have always wondered what it stands for, though. Do you know?
Diablo mio. I don't. I would love to have that magazine, as well as that poem.
So do we get like 2 stories?
Yes.
Story and a song?
Or you could have one really good one.
Rhett probably finished up copying by now.
Okay.
By default, he will hand her the copy. I don't know if she cares or not, but
She actually does care. Can I have the
Doesn't
page
matter.
you found?
doesn't matter much to Rhett. He'll hand her the original page.
Thank you. I will play you something or tell you a story that's good. Do you have something to share? She kind of turns to Dante.
Oh, yeah, I got a story. It's about little Frankie Gruber. So little Frankie Gruber, when he was a kid, his parents were real mean to him. You see, they would hit him, burn him with cigarettes, lock him in a room. He didn't really have any friends. All the kids made fun of him all the time. And little Frankie Gruber had enough of his parents. So when they were sleeping, one night, he burnt the house down. The only thing was, he kept the door locked, so he couldn't get out. So he burned alive with them. Now, that wasn't the last of old Frankie Gruber. You see, he comes to kids in their nightmares. He has knife hands. He comes to them in their nightmares, cuts them up. And the only way to survive is if you wake up. So don't fall asleep, especially in a graveyard, or Frankie Gruber might get you.
Silence follows this story. As the woman says, "Okay. Are you? Is anyone about to fall asleep?"
Is that a ghost story, or is that just really gruesome? Because that's more disturbing than anything else.
It's a cautionary tale. That's why you shouldn't make fun of people, Dante.
Yeah, but you could live forever then. I'm sorry, Emmeline. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I saw potential in it. I thought it was actually pretty good. Like the way that you said it was nice.
Oh, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, we can make a movie of it or something. Probably be a smash hit. Just get a real handsome actor in there.
I will say nothing.
La Trovadora says, "All right. Do you want a story or a song?"
I'll take a story.
A story.
I hate musicals.
Okay. Typically I sing songs, but tonight, for this, I will do a story for a story. This is a story that is, this is the most frightening story I know. And in exchange, I can have your magazine, and I can have this poem.
Sure, it's just a magazine.
All right. She sort of settles into her position, the purple light kind of flickering over her face. And she says, "Okay, my friends, just listen. You are in a bed. You are tired. You close your eyes. You know that you are alone. There is nothing in the room with you. Nothing in the corner of your eye. There are no sounds, no creaks, no uncertain noises. There's nothing in the closet, nothing under the bed, nothing in the shadows. There's no presence that you can sense in the room with you. No dark thoughts enter your mind. You don't start imagining that there's a hand hovering just over your leg, or your arm, or your throat. There's no soft, slight pressure on the bed next to you. There's no paralyzing feeling that now there's something on top of you, compelling you to be still and silent. No scream catches in the back of your throat, leaving you fighting for air, unable to make a single sound. You are peacefully asleep. You are not being watched. You are perfectly safe. There's no such thing as ghosts.
A little chill goes down Rhett's spine.
That was pretty good storytelling. Here you go.
But
She takes it, as all of you have this kind of, she says thank you. And then, from the other side of her, across the flame, you all hear a voice, icy as death, saying, I didn't care for it.
Did you guys hear that?
yeah, I didn't either.
Yes. What was that?
Oh, it must have been a ghost. Well, she takes the poem and the magazine. Thank you, my friends. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night here in the graveyard.
Leaving so soon? You don't want to maybe hang out with us a little bit longer?
Oh no, I have a lot more stops to make. I'm out guising, remember? She puts her mask back on. She kind of like takes she folds the piece of paper into the magazine and kind of puts that on her belt. She picks up her lantern and suddenly it seems much darker. And she picks up her guitar case and says, well. Oh, and one more thing. Thank you so much. I hope that story doesn't scare you too much later when you're trying to go to sleep. And word of warning, I wouldn't stand on the empty plinths especially.
Wait. The town is that way.
Oh,
You said you have more stops.
I'm not going to town. I'm going much further away than that. She turns and walks back to the mist.
Does it register that we've never seen anybody go into the mists?
Yes, I think it does register in this moment to you. It's so explicitly happening that you're kind of like, wait a minute, this is crazy.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone go that way. Have you guys?
She's one of the spirits I was talking about. The people that live in the great. What if she was a ghost?
Well, I handed her the magazine. She held it. It would fall through her.
It's clearly not a spirit, but I'll kind of call out the mists are dangerous. And he's not quite sure why they're dangerous, but he just kind of don't go in.
She's definitely
By now,
something else, if not a ghost.
She's already disappearing into the mist.
So I'm just gonna say that story was a little not so much. Like, it's supposed to be a ghost story, but they're not real in the end. But did you guys hear that voice over there, or is that just me?
No, I heard it.
I heard it too.
And just to make this cinematic, Charlotte, the four of you have all sort of like stood up. You're all staring at the mist where she's gone. And as you're sort of saying what you're saying, Dante, did any of you hear that voice? You hear from behind you where the voice originally came from, this kind of freeze with me. You hear it from right behind you. You're kind of just this like odd whispering. You're not even sure what's being said. Just this kind of freeze. You can't tell, but there's something behind you speaking, or at least a sound is behind you.
Dante does what would it be? Investigation or perception?
I mean, I guess let me
just look around.
If you are you turning around?
I'm turning around, trying to see what the hell's going on.
Perfect. You turn around, and there is there is a woman there, kind of hovering, a couple inches off the ground, incorporeal, spectral and ghostly. Off of her is radiating freezing cold.
That's not possible.
What?
There's your ghost, Emmeline.
Has to be a trick of the light of projection. Ghosts aren't real.
My projector's not on.
When you say that, Rhett, she says, she looks right at you with this glance that freezes your blood and says, I don't like that story. At which point she surges towards you. She's gonna make an attack and then we roll initiative. Ooh, I'm gonna roll my frostiest looking of the new dice. Okay, I rolled a 19 on the die, which is sadly a 20 would have been. A 20 would have been rad to roll right now. A crit would have been great. Oh god, Rhett, you're not great. How many hit points does Rhett have out of curiosity?
Has 6 hit points.
6 hit points? She rolls 3d6 cold on a hit. Okay, so Rhett, I didn't do 12, but I definitely did more than 6. You dropped to 0 hit points, but I actually need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right, just a second here. All right, so first of all, that's a natural 13.
Natural 13. All right, so can you please roll your D13 that you have? Ooh, we got one. It's fun to have them. Oh my gosh, please roll a 13 on it because then a horror surge and you'll all die and it'll be cool.
I cannot find my 13, so I'll have anyone else roll for me, please.
Understood. You want me to do it or you want them to do it?
Yes, Philip. I want you to have the satisfaction if it's 13.
Come on. How rude. It's a 12.
Oh.
If you would have picked me, I rolled a 13 on it just to see.
Damn it.
Doesn't count.
Well, it's the week of blood. Maybe we should say it counts. It doesn't count. I get it. It's fine.
Doesn't count.
So,
and that brings me to an 11, by the way.
Oh, that brings you to an 11? Damn it.
Yes.
10 was the DC. So, you do drop unconscious because if you fail that saving throw, your hit point max is reduced by an amount equal to the damage you took. So that would kill you outright. But at this point, let's all roll initiative. How joyful.
I'm scared.
How exciting. Oh my gosh, I haven't done an initiative thing in months.
Wait, are there modifiers on initiative? I forget.
There is, and it's on there, but it's basically your dex modifier. It should be on the sheet there.
Top middle.
Yeah, top. There you go. It's in a green box at the top middle.
Thank you.
There it is.
Right. So, as you guys make your
It's been a while since we've been in this system.
It's been a while since it's been
Really
a while
has.
since we've done any D&D.
Really
I totally get it, and I
Okay,
apologize. I know
here.
people were asking. There were some messages to me that I didn't see until later, but yeah, it's all is well. Yes, you just add things to things. Don't worry about it. Okay. She didn't roll as good as I would hope. That's lame. Oh, never mind. She'll be fine. All right. Did anybody roll 20 or higher on their initiative? Did anybody just really get out the gate? What about
Rhett actually rolled a 20, which is not great for him, I don't think, but yes.
Okay, what'd you 20, so what does that get you to?
No, he rolled a non-nat 20.
Non-nat 20, great. Okay, so
Dirty
Rhett.
20.
Dirty 20 for Charlotte?
Oh, no. I was just saying that.
Okay.
I got an 8.
8, perfect. What about you, Dante?
10.
10. What about you, Emmeline?
I got a 6.
Your online dice roller is not being cool to you at all.
No, it's not being very nice to me. I need to find my actual ones because I'm like
Being
very
rude.
mad at it
It's
right
honestly
now.
being rude. It's being. Have you rolled above a 10?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that we're not playing a roll under system. We do a lot of those. So maybe your dice roller assumed we'd be playing a different kind of thing.
Call of
Okay.
Cthulhu.
So Rhett, you actually do get to go first. Please make a death saving throw.
Joy. 10. So yeah, that passed.
Okay.
10 plus 2.
So
Con.
Rhett,
Well,
though he's frozen, like on the ground, like he's fallen over.
oh, I'm sorry. My constitution is not plus 2. It's minus 2. So that brings it to an 8.
Death saves are not. Oh,
No, it's just flat. That's right.
Death saves
Okay,
are
yeah.
flat. Yeah. Your con save was the con save was to drain your life away. Okay. Is dropped to frozen horror. The Snow Maiden actually gets to go now. So she wants to freeze more, not deeper. So we'll do 1, 2 Emmeline, 3, 4 Charlotte, 5, 6 Dante. And wouldn't you know it, welcome to the game. It's been so fun to have you, Megan. Sort of seeing Emmeline there, this ghost just kind of like rushes towards you with this life drain. What is your armor class? On that little sheet of ours.
10.
10. I roll a 6 and she has a +4. So to the number. She does drain your life away. I'm very sorry. Could you please make, so whether or not this drops you in one thing, could you please make a Constitution saving throw as well?
Yeah.
And you
see.
And you have 7 hit points. Okay.
I got an 8.
You rolled an 8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I... It actually doesn't matter. I rolled 14.
Cool.
Which is double your hit point max. So, Emmeline, as you sort of, like, see this poem, and Emmeline, is there any sort of, like... Do you want to, like, let loose with, like, a poetical idea or final sort of word as you see this horrible specter rushing towards you and kind of just enveloping you in the horrible cold of the grave?
Yeah, I think I just start shouting. I don't know. I try to describe how I'm feeling. I don't know.
Understood. Then tell you what, roll.
Word.
Then give me one last performance. Just give me one
Okay.
last.
Or just I let out a scream. I just let out a blood curdling
Poetic
scream.
scream. So roll a performance. Let's see how effective it is.
10.
Fairly effective. You know what? And let's be honest, Emmeline had a wonderful spirit, but based solely on the rolls that a computer gave us tonight, she probably wasn't like the greatest of poets.
She was an aspiring poet, you know.
It's no huge loss to the literary world.
Yeah,
It's kind of the
it's okay.
You know,
it's okay.
It's a
She was
sad.
just in high school. Give her a break,
It's a
y'all.
sad thing that just happened. That as Emmeline is this sort of ghost just goes upon her, and you see her like let out this scream that then freezes into almost a crystalline tinkling as she is frozen solid before you.
Oh.
And now stands there, her eyes sort of glazing over. Maybe one last twitch before the eyeballs themselves, the sclera, is just hardened. And that scream echoes. And with that, Dante, it's your turn.
Whoa. What the... Dante is freaked out, and he's going to run in the direction that the geyser went. He's out of here because he needs her.
Perfect. Love it.
Oh no.
Dante, you run where the geyser went. I love that. Charlotte.
Yeah.
We'll say that you rush, and I'll even say if you dash, we'll say that you can kind of get to the mist there, Dante. Runs after the guys. All right, so Charlotte, it's your turn.
Yes.
Sorry,
I'll actually run where Dante is running, because I figure if she comes after us, it's better that there's 2 of us as opposed to 1.
Understood. So you also run there.
Even though me, Lauren, knows that's a terrible idea.
Wow, okay. Wow, okay. I'm in an interesting situation here in which I'm actually going to make an intelligence roll on behalf of the Snow Maiden. To see if she knows not to follow you there. I roll a natural 1.
Nice.
So she also no, you know what though? Are you guys dashing? Are you using your movement and your action to run as fast as possible?
Yes.
Great. So she can move. So you guys have gone 60 feet. So we'll just say, just for the purpose of the fun of this, we'll say you're in the mist, but she is able, or you're just at the edge of it. She has a 50-foot movement speed, so she will use all of her movement, and then she will take an action to continue moving. She will get right between the two of you, so that you know that if you run away from her, she can kind of use her melee thing to attack you. So she's come to both of you here in the mist, and with that, it comes back around to Rhett.
All right. Fail.
A fail. Alrighty, and now, at initiative count 18, Rhett, I'm very sorry about this next part, because this isn't technically even a roll, but we're just going to count it as a crit hit from a melee thing. Rhett, as you're sort of like on the edge of consciousness, and like looking up like this frozen stuff around you, you're almost rallying, but then the ice is still in you, slowing your heart, and then suddenly, thunk, dealing you sort of 2 death fails as a melee attack. A giant stone foot crushes your chest. And the last thing you hear, Rhett, is a voice saying, "Oh my God, what kind of trash are people leaving around? This is why we can't have nice things anymore. What's the world coming to?"
So happy.
It just whispers out with his final breath. He's like, "That's not possible."
It is now the turn of one Dante. So Dante, this woman's right next to you. You're in the edge of the mist, but we haven't fully gotten to it. So you have a couple of options here. One, you can just continue running away, but she might attack you. Or you could take the dodge action, which gives sort of disadvantage when people attack you, and then you could move, hoping that would be harder for her to get. Or you could attack her back, whatever you want to do.
So so she's in between me and the mist now?
She's like next to you in the mist, so you could certainly try to run sort of further into the mist away from her if you wanted.
I'm just bolting for it and yelling for La Troubadoura.
Understood. All right. Very fun. All right. Evens, she's focused on you and will attack you for running. Odd, she will go for Charlotte. I rolled a 13, but mine don't count because the world is so cruel. So Dante, you do manage to sort of get away into the mist. Charlotte, it is your turn.
I'm continuing to run, but can I scream for help?
You can scream for help, but you're also running. You're
Yeah.
running where Dante's running.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
So
I never changed directions.
so she kind of gets there, and you're like, and you sort of run as Dante sort of rushes off. She kind of sees him and turns to you instead. As you run off, she's gonna attack you.
Okay.
Yep. Assuming you don't have an 18 armor class.
I do not.
How many hit
In
points
fact.
do you have?
I have 6.
6. Okay. Well, I just rolled. Yep, that is
No.
literally 12 points of damage, which is your maximum hit point, negative your maximum hit point. So you are also frozen as a statue in that place. That being said, no, you guys didn't have to either, so she doesn't either. Okay, that's fine. So she does that, and then that's her reaction. As she freezes you. Sorry, Charlotte. Dante, you're running off. She rushes after you. Dante, the first thing you must do. You're calling out for La Trovadora, right?
Yes.
So you sort of are calling that, and she sort of says to you, you hear a voice saying, "Oh, no, mijo, this is not a good place for you to be. I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw. The DC's 20.
It's an 8 + 1.
Okay.
9.
You gain a level of exhaustion. And you can sort of see nothing, and as you're kind of like looking around, you feel yourself just like completely being enervated and drained by being in this mist. You can't even see the woman around you, but you feel yourself sinking down in your power. You can't see La Trovadora, you cannot see the ghost behind you, but you feel yourself becoming exhausted.
Is it time for an action of some sort?
You may take one.
Is he able to hear where the voice
Where she
came
said
from?
this is not a good place for you, you may make a perception check, but because you have a level of exhaustion, you have to make it at disadvantage. Because the game is a death spiral.
Well, so at disadvantage, it was a 3, and then investigation, so that would have been or perception, did you say?
Perception.
So that would have been a 4.
Okay. So you have no idea where she is, and we'll just say that you run deeper into the mists. You have no idea where you're going. You're running there. The okay news for you is that now the Snow Maiden also has to make these Constitution saving throws, as she's sort of trying to chase you. And her con is +0, so she gets it as well. She gains a level of exhaustion, and you hear her sort of. Is she immune to exhaustion? She is immune to exhaustion. Cool.
Oh, man.
Let's go. That being said, can she even find you in here? It's unlikely. Nope. I roll a natural 20. I literally roll a cauldron of bubbles there on this one. So she doesn't take the exhaustion. She kind of can't be in here. Like she seems to be having some trouble, but she does sort of find her way to you, Dante. And as you look up kind of behind you, you see the spirit moving out of it, and you hear La Trovadora going, "Oh, that's a shame." So this ghost is gonna try to freeze you. But what is your armor class, sir?
11.
11. She rolls. I roll a 4 + 4. That is 8. So she misses you as she sort of swipes after you. It is your turn again. First, make another kind of Constitution saving throw.
So that was a nat 1.
Okay.
So that's a 2.
So you're now double exhausted, and your speed is now halved, so you can't even move as quick.
Okay.
But what would you like to do as your action?
And can I see the ghost right there?
The ghost is atop you. She's like trying to. She's this like deathly face, just kind of swirling with the mists.
It, just randomly going deeper, like to get away, scrambling, just anything, terrified.
Okay, cool. As you move away from her, she gets an opportunity attack. I know you don't know the rules of this game. It's cruel. That time's an 18. How many hit points does this guy have?
He has 9.
Okay. I drop you to 0, but I don't kill you outright. I've done 12 points. Can you please roll a Constitution saving throw? If you roll a 10, though you've fallen into the mist, you're still alive.
That is a 14.
A 14.
+1, Wait, is it just flat on
It's
this
a
one?
flat. So you have 0 hit points. You're kind of like you're dying on the ground, but you're not. But you are not like dead outright. And you have been frozen solid. At this point, I will say, I will basically say that you kind of in the distance kind of hear a voice saying, "Hey, hey, hey, get out of there! Go away, go away!" And you can kind of vaguely see the ghost above you going. She's like, "No, away from the idiot! Go!" And the ghost kind of, and you hear the ghost saying, "I don't care for your story." Yeah. Get out of here. And the ghost kind of flutters away. And after a few moments, Dante, you can feel the woman sort of standing over you. La Trovadora just looks down and goes, "This was a stupid place to go, Papi. I don't know why you did this." Dante, it's your turn again. First, make a Constitution saving throw to see if you get another level of exhaustion.
No, I gotta do it again.
Okay.
That's a 10.
A 10. So the con save is DC 20 when you're in the mist. So congratulations, you're 3 levels of exhaustion. Now you have disadvantage on your saving throws. So roll a death save at disadvantage.
So one was a nat 20.
Okay.
And the other one is a 5.
Okay. So you have a death fail. And she just goes, "Oh God." And then you hear this shout from outside in the mist, from back where you were coming. This inhuman voice going, "Who the hell was standing on my plinth? Ah, these people got no respect for anything." La Trovadora hears that, and you can like see her eyes through the holes in her goblin mask, and she just goes, "Yeah, I warned you about that too. This isn't what I like to do, but believe me, it's better for you this way." And you don't even sort of feel the knife as it just...
The only thought that Dante had is this gonna look cool?
And the answer is, the Trovadora looks pretty cool. So with that, as she kind of shakes her head, cleans her knife, kind of traces her hand over that book with that magazine with that poem in it, she kind of adjusts her cloak and wanders off into the mist. Thank you for visiting Paradise, La Trovadora, and thank you, players, for doing the main thing you're designed to do in this horrible place, which is die sadly. That ends chapter 71 of Blood from a Stone. This was a quick one, actually. I forgot that Paradise could do this, because when the dying starts. Well, thank you, everybody. That was delightful.
That was great.
Thank you so much.
That's
fun. I'm sad. I'm sad for all your fates, and also they were inevitable.
I really like that was the Stone Man's plinth. Is that the word of the day?
That is the word of the day.
Can we do Philip's word of the day?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was everybody thought it was OG, but it was OG.
Yes, I said I was talking about I was describing like arches in a castle, and I said they're OG arches, and then I said, wait, how do you pronounce that? Is it Ogie or OG? I genuinely don't know. And Lauren thought I was making a joke of like O period G period original gangster, and I was talking about like no, the architecture OGEE. Yeah, I can do a word of the day calendar. OG. Today was plinth. They're all architectural, apparently.
Yeah. Only Rhett. Only
Is
Rhett
that actually a word? I don't know that word.
OG? Yeah, it's like a style of kind of like column decor. And I've seen it in other things, but I mainly just, it remains in my mind because of crossword puzzles. Much like etui is apparently a sewing case.
I have no idea.
Boy, is that in all the crossword puzzles, because it's just nothing but vowels.
I looked up OG, and the emphasis is on the O.
OG.
So it's OG.
Okay. It is an OG. Wonderful. Well, you know what? You don't just see horrible games as I play out my power fantasies of murdering my friends. You also learn some words. I want to thank everyone for playing. Megan, I hope you had fun here in Paradise.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
It was delightful. I feel bad for Emmeline. Feel bad for all of them. Maybe Dante a little less, but even Dante, he didn't deserve that. That was great. Well, 5 down, 2 to go. Join us tomorrow night at 7:30 for Chapter 72 from the Fractured Factory. And then on Halloween night, All Hallows Eve, October 31st, 7:30 p.m. here for the final installment, where we will be visiting the Surfing Domain. That is Chapter 73 of Blood from a Stone. And then, my gosh, am I taking a break for a few days. So yeah, that's going to be super fun. Week after that, on November 8th, we will be jump-starting back into our Noir game, and Anthony will be in that. So that'll be super fun. We'll be visiting them as they've gone to the Fairylands, to a strange inversion of the black and white material plane. On this coming Friday, we do not have a Blood from a Stone. It is the first Friday of the month, so we will be doing a session of our Star Trek Adventures game, the USS Noteworthy. Some major things happened in one of our mid of the week games of that, and it's kind of fun that there'll be a big one, because boy, there was an episode called The Prisoner, and by the end of it, who the prisoner was had changed from what I designed. That was super fun. So join us for that. If you want to know what our players get up to, go to the About page here on Twitch. Also go to our Discord to get recaps of these games, see other conversations, fun things like that. That's kind of all I've got here. Anybody else have any things to plug or mention, or anything I missed?
Just everybody have a great and very safe Halloween. If you're celebrating tonight, be safe. Don't drink and drive. Wear a mask in your Ubers or Lyfts just to protect yourself and the drivers. Drink lots of water.
I feel like that is
what Lauren said. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, thank you all so much. Until next time, have a dreadful night. Or in this case, afternoon. Bye-bye, everybody.